Hey, what's up, Muscle and Strength? Steve KUCLO'S here with Team ALLMAX at the Muscle and Strength headquarters. Gonna be showing you guys how to build bigger calves. All right, we're gonna be starting today with standing calf raise. A few things that are key to make sure you do when you are using this machine is getting a full range of motion. Now I'm gonna preach on this a lot and I'm gonna sound like a broken record because so many people do that wrong and do not do a full range of motion, which is one of the most important parts to building great calves. And another thing is making sure that your foot placement is right. There's a lot of questions about whether you should have your toes out, toes in, or toes straight. Personally, I like to keep them straight. Reason being, I really feel it in my calves better. Sometimes, you know, if there's theories or they say, hey, I feel like it works my outer calves or inner calves. I just think if you do your foot straight, which is kind of a natural foot position, it's gonna work your calves. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna get under here and show you how to do it. So getting under here, you want your foot placement just inside shoulder width. You want to make sure you have a little bend in your knees, and we're gonna go ahead and put the balls of our foot is gonna be on the edge of the foot platform. So get that full stretch. You come all the way up onto your toes and get that full range of motion. So a little bend in the knees, making that stretch in the calves all the way down, and then come all the way up into your toes and hold that for a second. And if you can do these for 15 or 20 reps, your calves should be burning. For the next movement we're going to be doing for calves is going to be the calf press via leg press. And one of a movement that I like to do and incorporate in my calf training, because a lot of gyms you go to don't have a lot of calf pieces. They should, but this leg press they should always have. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate how to do a proper rep with the leg press. So you go to the bottom of the leg press here. And what I like to do is not have my toes only. I kind of put the ball of my foot on the bottom of the leg press. And then I always make sure I get a good stretch on the bottom position. And by putting my ball of my foot on the bottom of the leg press, I'm able to really get a good stretch. And then make sure you come all the way up onto your toes. Another thing too is not locking out your knees. Keep a little bend in your knees, and that's gonna put a little bit more onto your calves. Full stretch all the way up on your toes. Full stretch all the way up on your toes. And making sure you pause it on the bottom during that stretch and pause it for a second on top to really get that contraction. All right, moving on to our next movement, how to build bigger calves, is gonna be the seated calf raise, one of my favorite movements. Again, it's a movement that's usually done wrong, so I'm gonna show you how I do it and how I'd recommend you do it in order to build bigger calves. With this machine, again, a little tip and trick in my book is when you're doing this, you see a lot of people just put the pad on toward the edge of their knee. Now that's okay and that works, but if you really want to build some dense, thick calves and make a statement, get the pad where it's more sitting on your quad, and it goes back to having like a little bit more of a bend in your knee versus like a straight leg when doing some other movements like the standing or the leg press. So when I do this, the ball of my foot again is on the foot pad, not just my toes, but the ball. Get the pad on my quads. In doing this, you're taking it all the way down till you get that full stretch. Super important. And you come all the way up with holding it for a second. So all the way down, give me that second pause and bring it up with another 1 or 2 second pause on the top. That range of motion is super important with that tempo to making sure you're getting the most out of the seated calf raise. When you think about it, it's pretty simple, but a very effective movement to building bigger calves. All right, finishing up the calf routine on how to build bigger calves, I'm going to show you a variation to the standing calf raise if your gym doesn't have it, to use the Smith machine. But if you do have that, you want to incorporate this, I'm going to show you the single leg version on the Smith machine. Reason being, sometimes you have imbalances with your body and you may have one calf bigger than another, or sometimes you have particular a side that will dominate if you do it together. Say like a barbell press, you may have your right shoulder be dominant, stuff like that. So sometimes I like to do unilateral movements to help fix any problems you may have with imbalances. Rep range we're shooting for, as always, is the higher rep, 15, 20 reps. If you're doing that rep range, your calves should be burning by that 15th, 16th rep, and maybe just kind of squeeze out a few more. If you're getting more, maybe add a little bit more weight. But if you're getting less, lighten the weight up a little bit, get that form right. So what I like to do to get that stretch, because you really can't do it if you're flat foot on a floor, is making sure you get some kind of pad to elevate or some kind of little platform. So I'm gonna go ahead and get underneath this, just like you would on a squat. But doing single, one leg at a time. So again, ball of your foot, not your toes, but the ball of your foot is on the edge of the pad. Get that full stretch and come up, keeping this foot free all the way down, and squeeze up for that about 1 to 2 second hold on top, 1 to 2 second hold on the bottom, and come up. Usually like to average 3 to 4 sets per exercise. So if you do all 4, kind of a true calf circuit, an intense calf workout where you're really focusing on one particular day, doing these 4 movements are really gonna help build those calves. But those of you that need calves, you need to make sure that you're doing it at least twice a week. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe below. And also don't forget, turn on those post notifications.